Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRooter.com. It is Monday Monday the 11th. March 11th, 2024. I don't know how long silver can last. It has become so obvious to anybody who has been in this game long enough to see that we're in the end times for silver manipulation, silver market rigging, silver price rigging. Every time Jeffrey Christian opens his mouth, he gives away more scoop on what's going on behind the scenes. Yes, ultimately it will be the physical market that destroys the massive commercial rigging side of this game that's been going on for decades, or even over a century. If you go back to the origins of silver market rigging, it goes back to the 1850s when England set up Hong Kong Shanghai Bank during the Opium Wars to get the Chinese population addicted to opium. So all that silver that was flowing out of England to China for the silks and the teas and the spices and things like that would flow back, because if you get the population addicted to opium and you force them to pay in silver, which was the money of China at the time, all that silver is going to come back to England, which is exactly what happened. That was the first setup of Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, today known as HSBC. Yes, the same HSBC that keeps getting busted for violations of every single rule out there in banking, but they're still up and running. It's like JP Morgan, still up and running, even though, 4 felony counts now. They've paid over $40 billion in fines, kind of get out of jail free type of fines. The most corrupt bank these days is JP Morgan Chase, which is really interesting given that they have the largest derivative position. Now, mind you, $55 trillion in derivatives from JP Morgan Chase, it won't take much of a hiccup for that to get destroyed, and then thus every other counterparty gets destroyed with it, and no, your bank isn't going to survive it. I don't care if you have a savings and loan, a credit union, or whatever you have, it will go down as well, just because all these banks are interrelated, interconnected. Because JP Morgan's $55 trillion in derivatives have counterparties. And those counterparties are mostly these other banks. So name these banks. All right, Bix, name the banks. JP Morgan, $55 trillion. Goldman Sachs Bank. Yeah, when they turned into a bank in 2008 or 2009, basically so the Fed would bail them out, it was ridiculous. Goldman Sachs Bank. What are you talking about? It wasn't a bank. It was more like a hedge fund. Anyway, they got $52 trillion. Citibank, $51 trillion. They're a massive silver shorter. Bank of America, massive silver lessor, structured silver rigger. Wells Fargo it's a big jump from 55, and then you go 4 banks down to 22. 22 trillion. It's not a lot. Bank of America has 22 trillion. Wells Fargo Bank has 14 trillion. And then we start falling. State Street Bank, $2 trillion. HSBC, the mother of all criminal banks, $1.5 trillion in derivatives. U.S. Bank, $1.1 trillion. And then the top 10, the last one in the top 10, Bank of New York Mellon, $1.1 trillion. And then you get into the hundreds of billions. And it drops pretty quick. PNC has $694 billion. Remember, none of these banks can handle even, a $10 billion hit by one of these big banks would probably topple them over. That's what you get for loading up these banks. These banks, literally, these are the triggers for the mass destruction. Warren Buffett called it the weapon of mass financial destruction. And he was right. So keep an eye on the derivative market. And then you go down to let's just look at the top 10%. Number 10 is PNC at $694 billion. And they're not a real strong bank to start with. And then you go to the top 20, BMO Bank has $145 billion. Another bank is just not healthy enough to support this kind of derivative position that's going to go bad. because all these guys have derivatives connected to each other, and it goes down the trickle list. So, let's just go down to let's say $1 billion, which is a massive hit for any of these banks. There are 175 banks with over $1 billion in derivatives. Most of these banks can't even, are finding it tough to make payroll now. And yet they're allowed to have $1 trillion, over $1 billion in derivative bets. Derivative bets are just side bets for the most part. And then you go all the way down to, who are the big players in derivatives? How many are there, Bix? Well, let's go down. Let's go down to 1 million. Anything under 1 million. And it is shocking that we're still going. Right here is the $1 million mark. 980 banks have at least $1 million in derivative exposure. The bank with the smallest when you get to the million is 1,009,980 banks. Woodside Guarantee Savings Bank. There you go. There's 980 banks who will be destroyed with a hiccup in the derivative market, because all of them will go down because all of the counterparties are going down. So just keep that in mind as you think, well, does it matter? Does it matter that they're still rigging the silver market? Because when these banks go down, everything stops. The COMEX will not be able to function. The New York Stock Exchange will not be able to function. It isn't like 2008 at all. It is something new. It is a weapon of mass financial destruction that was allowed to grow. Through 1999 was when they said, okay, let's give banks the power to write any derivatives they want. That was Alan Greenspan, Larry Summers. That little gang got together and said, we're going to just open this up so the banks can make massive amounts of money, but also will grow so big it would destroy the system. And they knew it. And they wanted to destroy the system. Now we're going to have to destroy the system to get rid of the old system. You need to have physical metal in your own possession. You need to have good cryptos in your own possession. Cryptos are the future. There is no doubt about it. And I hope you guys understand this now. I'm not saying when the market crashes that cryptos won't crash, but so will probably the price of silver, even though you can't get an ounce. You won't be able to go down to your local silver shop and get an ounce of silver during the crash. Everything just stops because there's no money. The banks are gone. Your money is gone. It doesn't matter. You can't buy physical silver in any form as the system falls apart. That's why I'm screaming. So important to have it in your own possession. Great time for crypto people. I mean, Bitcoin's obviously running. Theta's up. Oh, my God. It was just 60 cents the other day. Now it's $3.68. What's going on with Theta, Bix? What's going on with Theta? You can always tell when Theta starts to run. I start getting calls from friends and family saying, oh, I wish I bought more Theta. And then when things crash, I can always tell when it's time to buy, because they'll say, oh, man, you really got destroyed when it comes to cryptos, didn't you? I get the calls. And the rest of the time, it's just silence. How many times? I'm talking friends and family, not even Road to Ruta, not even the people I touch out here. What is Theta? Theta is a software you can download. It's a program that, yes, 3.9 billion people on the planet run Android devices that are going to be able to run an edge node. Share their capacity of their computer. Share their broadband. Share their extra space on their hard drive. Share their computing power in edge nodes. And it's all been announced. Theta has done everything it said it would do since day one. And the question is not, what is the price? I don't care what the price is. Can they do what they say they're going to do? Which would be have an edge cloud, just like the Amazon cloud storage, Google cloud storage. This is a non-cost type of thing. The cost is built into the structure, and people get paid to store data via T-Fuel. Brilliant invention. So who's buying and who's not selling? And who is? I mean, anybody in my mind, it'd be crazy to sell Theta. before the year is out, because there's two things going on in Theta. One, the test, we're going to run a test system with 3.9 billion potential people that could download, or don't even have to download. It could be an upgrade of your Android device. It could be Samsung just doing a software upgrade to all their TVs out there, all their mobile phones. When Theta fully builds out this edge computing for Android devices, it literally is an overnight download. It's just so obvious. So who in their right mind would sell Theta? Yeah, people are selling Theta right here. Look at the volume. $417 million in the last 24 hours were sold. That's a lot of Theta. Now, who was buying? Probably the people who know exactly what's going on. Probably Google, probably Samsung and Sony, and all the investors, because they know exactly what the potential was, why they've been in it for so long, and the rest of the world is going to understand what it is and what it was. And these are pretty strong hands, if you know what I mean. So, of course, Theta is going into the thousands of dollars. Question is, when are you going to get in? Anyway, kind of crazy to me. Looking forward to this year for Theta. Who knows what the price is going to? Nobody knows. When the system falls apart, everything's going to, who knows? Do you have it in your hand for the next system, as the next system jumps up? But the two things we are looking forward to, amongst other things with Theta, is the Edge Cloud Next Generation Network. The first release is going to be in the first half of 2024. I think it's May 1st is the planned release of kind of like the beta test run. And then later in the year, the second half is going to be the full release. And then all of a sudden, everybody can have Theta downloaded onto their device, and everybody will start to say, oh my God, Theta is actually changing the world. It is changing the way we do everything. And yes, Amazon will be in on it. One day, it'll even be on Coinbase. Everybody's like, well, why isn't it on Coinbase? Why isn't it on Coinbase? I would say, why do you want it on Coinbase? Then all of a sudden, the price doubles, triples, quadruples, and you can't get your hands on it as easy as you can now. I mean, I know it's hard in the U.S., but that's why the price is so low. U.S. people aren't buying it. You can go to simpleswap.io. SimpleSwap, swap your Bitcoin, Litecoin, whatever you want. Swap it all for Theta. And Theta Fuel, yes, they're rigged. Of course they are, just like everything else. The amazing thing about Theta and Theta Fuel is the ratio. Keep an eye on that ratio, because T-Fuel, a lot of people don't understand it. Right now, it's going up a little, but not much. And it goes up in bursts, in massive bursts. And it'll just jump up all of a sudden. I mean, Theta was, this is about a month ago, it was 4 cents, and now it's 9 cents. And if you look for what is the all-time high of T-Fuel, it was 54 cents back in 2021 when we were booming. And Theta's completely different than it was back then. All it was back then was a way to share your broadband. And now it's so much more. So, yes, I do think Theta is going into the thousands. The T-Fuel to Theta, ratio, people have figured out that, it's about 5 to 1, maybe 10 to 1, maybe 20 to 1. Right now, it's like 30-something to 1. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. I think you buy T-Fuel, you buy Theta, you buy T-Drop, you're just fine for doing a lot of different things. Okay, that's what I got for you. Lots going on this week. We're going to, if you didn't get it, Private Road, I posted this last weekend. The 1942 U.S. government lied about secret mobilization of over 800 million ounces. Jeffrey Christian got that wrong. He keeps getting things wrong. He's trying to push people away from silver, and it's just not working. Poor Jeff. I feel sorry for him. Not really. He's been such an ass to the GATA community, to everybody who has been advocating, hey, let's talk about the truth in silver, and all he does is run cover for the riggers. Has never admitted silver's rigged. Never. Even though there's confessions of banks rigging it. There's emails. There's texts back and forth. If you read the J.P. Morgan, the trial of their traders, they show the text. Rigging between colluding, which is it should have been a crime of RICO charges. Racketeering, 2 or more people conspiring to do something illegal. They could have got him on it, but that would destroy the banking system. Why, Bix? Why would it destroy the banking system? Because look who the number 1 derivative trader is. Derivative holder. We know it. JP Morgan Chase is right there. Massive, massive bank. Their total assets are $3.3 trillion. And the total derivatives are $55 trillion. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, great days for Theta holders and T-Fuel, and great day for cryptos. Bitcoin's up to 70,000 or something. I don't like it when cryptos go up because it gives them, as the weaker hands get in, there's a long way to run for Bitcoin. I'm not saying it won't run completely, just keep going up forever. It will go up and get frenzied again like it did in 2021 and then get slammed down again. We've been through this a million times. I'm a hodler. I advise everybody to hodl. If you're going to be upset if the price of cryptos go down and get smashed, then sell what your original investment was right now. Get out, and then you're playing with house money. So don't cry about anything. And I don't want to hear it when, Bix, you told me to get into Theta at $15 and now it's 50 cents. Dollar cost average, I told you to get in at 4 cents as well. Those who got it at 4 cents and 5 cents are doing pretty well. I think they're doing pretty well. So that's where we are. If you don't have a good silver to Theta or silver to crypto relationship, maybe dump a little crypto, buy more physical silver in your own possession. Make sure it's not SLV, by the way. SLV right here, the short position on SLV. This is shorting a physical ETF should be against the law. But they use it, as Jeff Curry told us, they use it as a manipulation tool. The ETFs are used as manipulation tools. Why anybody was excited about Bitcoin ETFs is beyond me. It's a derivative. All it does is take real purchasing power away from people who would have bought Bitcoin, real Bitcoin directly. And who would give their money to buy Bitcoin and have the criminals, the same criminals you're betting against, hold your Bitcoin? It makes no sense at all. But they are shorting, massive amount of shortings going on in SLV, up to 5 million, about 5 million ounces that have been shorted. That means people who purchase SLV, according to the prospectus that says for every ounce, every share you buy, an ounce is deposited into SLV. By guess who the custodian is? You can't make this shit up. It's JP Morgan Chase. And guess who runs it? It's BlackRock. Who's running most of these ETFs? BlackRock, and JP Morgan Chase is the custodian. Why would you give these very important standalone assets to JP Morgan to store? The biggest silver rigger in the world, self-admitted. They admitted to rigging the silver market. I don't know if Jeffrey Christian ever saw that, but they did. Paid a $920 million fine. Yes, it was also gold and U.S. Treasuries. But why? I mean, what is the fiduciary duty of BlackRock to hire a company that is upstanding to store physical silver for the silver ETF, unless the silver ETF SLV is a fraud or is used for manipulation, which is exactly what it is. All right, that's what I got for you. Again, lots of Theta. Weird stuff going on in the battle, in the war. 50 people injured after Boeing's 777 hit with a mid-flight technical event. This is stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't know what it is, but somebody is trying to sabotage airplanes. That's scary shit. So do with it what you will. Go to, if you're looking for some protection against the collapse or the implementation of massive amounts of regulation after the crash, I highly recommend Veritasium. I do think at some point the U.S. government, who has currently 98 million Veritasium tokens frozen. Now, Reggie does have, this is a multi-sig wallet, so does have access to that wallet. But he would have to get the approval of the U.S. government. Cliff High's data does have the U.S. government, after the crash or during the crash, coming to Reggie and say, hey, we want to use your technology to implement peer-to-peer transactions because these bankers are bust now. And whether or not Reggie grants that access, I don't know. His data, Cliff's data clearly says yes, he does, which gives the 98 million Veritasium tokens back to Reggie, and he's back in business, which is be a massive, massive coup for Veritasium holders. So that's the story. This is Bix Weir. Lots going on this week. My advice: get yourself some Theta, get yourself a lot of physical silver. Maybe thinking about doing a swap. You can contact Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin. They do. There is a way to buy physical silver with your cryptos, and send them an email, info@milesfranklin.com, and ask them how that is done, and ask what they have in inventory. I always suggest, if you're buying something from a broker, I wouldn't trust anybody other than my local dealers or Andy, because I know them both. But I always suggest buy what they have in inventory. You don't want to be waiting around, I'll get something in 2 weeks, and happens every time when the price of silver starts to run. People are promised silver, and the entity isn't very upstanding, and they can't get it. So check out everything. Be aware of everything. This is Bix Weir, roadtoroot.com. I'll talk to you later.